welcome to SCAN's Community Connection. My name is Tom Hayes. I'm Director of Customer Community Relations for New Jersey Natural Gas and your host for today. And we're very fortunate to have a wonderful guest with us. Amy Goldsmith is the New Jersey State Director of Clean Water Action and Clean Water Fund. So Amy, welcome to the program. We appreciate your being here with us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
It's great, and we go way back. We've known each other for many years.
Yes, many years.
And it's always a pleasure to speak with you.
Thank you.
So let's get right into this, and I'm sure all our viewers are really interested in what your organization does and the types of things it works on. So first of all, what makes your organization unique from other environmental groups in New Jersey?
Well, Clean Water Action is a national organization. We have 150,000 members in the state. We have over 1 million members nationwide. Some of you might know us because we've knocked on your door literally between the hours of 4 and 9 at night to talk to you about our issues, to get you involved, to get you to write letters. There aren't very many environmental groups that do that. And we are a national organization, but we work very much at the grassroots, whether it's in the city of Newark or in Asbury Park, or we have an office in Long Branch. As well as in Montclair. So we really work at the grassroots and on a variety of issues, not just water issues, but everything eventually comes back to the tap, right? So
yes,
that's
for
why we
sure.
care about it.
And I have to say, some of your folks did knock on my door about 6 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
And they were lovely and really explained what they were doing and very non-threatening and not pushy in any way, but were really trying to get information out to the public. And I was happy to talk with them and do whatever I could to support them. So
well, thank
you got a good team out there. I just want to give
Right.
a thumbs up.
Thank you. And they are our paid staff. They work with us. They come in every day for training. So I'm really glad to hear good things about them.
Yeah, no,
Thank you.
it was great. It was a very nice experience.
Good.
So you have this Rethink Disposable campaign. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I find that very interesting.
Yeah, so, on the Jersey Shore, there are organizations who do beach sweeps and to clean up all this,
Right.
garbage on the beach and in the ocean, and turtles are swallowing, plastics and all this, and
Right.
it's really become quite an international problem. And so instead of always having to clean up after the mess is already made, why not reduce the amount of plastics that we're using and styrofoam that we're using? And the biggest culprit is food service. So bottled water,
Sure.
takeout food, all the straws you use, the napkins, the little tiny plastic containers with soy sauce, all that kind of stuff,
Right.
adds to the waste stream and adds to what ends up in our storm drains and our beaches and our oceans. And so our campaign is a voluntary program. We work with businesses actually to reduce their use of all these single-use disposables, and they save anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 a year by doing it, and by replacing them with reusables. So
Right.
we've gotten food trucks to use reusable baskets for people who eat nearby. We've
Right.
changed indoor dining places so that they're using reusables, and they're actually finding that they're saving money even with the water, and the energy costs that they might have. They're saving money and doing right by the environment. So we have a campaign in Asbury Park. It's
All
a
right,
Straws
okay.
on Demand
Okay.
campaign, and we do a lot of events where. Like Indian Summer that just happened in Asbury Park. People use stainless steel cups, and every time they go back to get another beverage, they get $1 off the beverage. So it creates incentives for people to reuse rather than keep using throwaways over and over and over again.
That's great, and it really is important. And as each generation comes through, they seem to get more and more environmentally focused, and certainly. There's a lot of credit goes to organizations like yours that keeps reminding us of those things and trying to get these, our young people educated at an early age so that they can come home and tell their parents like us and say, you need to stop doing that. You need to do this instead, and all the good things that we all need to learn to really do right by our own environment and our own world, right? And make it a better place for all of us and for our kids in the future, right?
Right,
So.
and getting somebody in a restaurant to stop giving you that straw is quite a challenge. So if you think of one thing to do, just try every time you go to a restaurant, just think about one less thing you need, one less thing you need to use, and it makes a difference. And it also educates the people who are working in the food service sector as well.
Yeah, right. No, that's great. Great work. So I know another area that you're interested in and involved with is voter education, right? So New Jersey, as we know, is a different state than many others in that we seem to have an election, which we do every year, right?
Yes, we do.
And this year we have the gubernatorial election as well as some legislature. So, it's a lot going on. So how well is the state, House doing when it comes to the environment at this point, do you think?
Well, we just issued a New Jersey legislative scorecard that you can go on our website and find it. But unfortunately, our legislature is only about 53% of the time voting the right way on the environment. And it's a little bit better than it was a couple of years ago, but it's only by about 4 percentage points. So why are they doing that? Well, I think there is a Christie factor here. He will be gone soon. We will have a new governor. No matter who's governor, they'll be better on the environment. And we hope that the legislature will then have more courage to vote the right way, but also, to their credit, they've been passing more proactive legislation for the environment, but we've had a governor who's typically vetoed the legislation. So we hope that the legislature will come back with new legislation next year on renewable energy, on a green jobs agenda, on a whole host of issues that we care about, drinking water standards, both in the DEP and in the agencies as well as in the legislature. And we hope that they will bring those back, and then we'll have a governor who will actually sign them into law and reclaim New Jersey's long legacy of being a pro-environmental state, on both sides of the aisle. We've typically had very strong Democrats and Republicans, in the governor's office as well as in the legislature. We'd like to get back to that again.
Right. It seems like a no-brainer that it's just across party lines. It doesn't really matter, what party you're from. You want to have a clean environment. And as you said, New Jersey's had a good history of improving itself. And let's face it, we're a very densely populated state. We're in between two metropolitan areas and a lot of water all around us and, farmlands and everything. And it's a beautiful state, and we should want to keep it that way.
Right. So we encourage people to go to our website and to look at the legislative scorecard, because this November, you'll have an opportunity to vote for your legislature, both the Assembly and the Senate, as well as the governor's race, and go and see how your legislator rated. And if you feel so inclined, write a letter and let them know that you're either really happy with what they did, disappointed, or you could do better.
Yeah, right. That's great. So that's a legislative scorecard that you have on your website.
Yes.
Why don't we go ahead and give our viewers the website?
So if you go to cleanwateraction.org/NJ, you will get to our website, and then you can look and find our scorecard and other information that we've been talking about today.
All right, we'll probably mention that again at the end, but I just want to, since we're talking about that now, let's make sure we get that out there. That's good.
Good.
All right, so that's also why it's so important for 2017 to really be looking at how important it is that, we always want to say to everybody that your vote counts, and you need to get out there and be involved and engaged. And it's great that you're giving some folks some information to look at to say, well, this is what can help determine who you're voting for based on how they're voting for our environment.
Right, and also we do have a congressional scorecard. Because we are a national organization, we keep track of them too. So if people want to look and see that as well. And New Jersey, it's very important, for the state to step up to the plate on the environment, because we've seen that right now Washington is going the wrong way. So it's our turn to really take care of ourselves if no one else will.
Gotcha. You got it. So another issue I know you're very involved with, obviously, is the drinking water safety. So can you tell us a little bit about what we should be looking at and what issues really are revolve around that? Right.
So every July or around July, every customer of a drinking water supply should get a water quality report. And our organization actually got the law passed that gets that water quality report sent to your house.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As well as to protect some of our source waters, where our waters come from.
Right, the reservoirs.
And the reservoirs that feed, our water supplies. And so one of the issues that, has been in the news a lot is lead, right? Lead in drinking water, whether it's in schools or homes.
It seems to be popping up more. It seemed like it was quiet for years. And all of a sudden it's popping up.
Well, clearly the story of Flint became a national story, but then as people start testing in New Jersey, many schools, many towns. You know, we are an old industrial state. Some of our pipes are hundreds of years old. They
Right.
had lead solder and lead linings in some cases,
Right.
because they thought that was the thing to use and that was the cheap product to use. So what's really important is for people to realize that while on the one hand the best solution is to replace our service lines, but that takes a while and takes a lot of money.
Right.
So in the meantime, take personal precautions. Run your faucet for a few seconds before you start drawing from the water. Don't use hot water to cook with. Use cold water, then use that water. Don't use
That's interesting. What's with the hot water? Just
well, because the hot water actually will release
okay.
the lead and the other contaminants that might be in the pipe. You want cold water going through your faucet.
Okay, gotcha.
So don't use hot water because you want to speed up your cooking of your spaghetti.
Right.
Use cold water, then
take
then
take an
cook
extra
it.
minute and just
Yeah.
let it heat up and
Right.
yeah, right, gotcha.
And then the other thing is if you're taking care of grandkids or you have kids with, you're using formula, don't boil the water, don't use hot water to speed up making the formula. I know you want your child to stop crying or you want to get the food to them as fast as possible, but don't use hot water. Use cold water. So it's very
Okay.
important to take some of these precautions. It does make a difference. The other thing is you can use filters. Just make sure that they are certified for lead, removal, activated carbon filters and other filters, but make sure they're certified. And the other thing is, if you're going to use a filter, make sure you change the filter when you're supposed to.
Right.
Otherwise, you get this false sense of protection, and you've loaded up your filter with contaminants, and then what happens is it just unloads it all. And then what you end up doing is actually making your personal health situation worse because you're
Right.
being exposed to more lead and more contaminants because your filter is filled up.
Right.
So if you're not going to take care of your filter, I don't advise using one.
Right.
Right.
That's sensible. That's good advice because most people do take that step and then forget about it.
Right.
I mean, I know myself, my wife is very good at that, so thank goodness for her in so many ways. But but for that too, it's just like
Right.
we got to change that filter, and sure enough, we get it done
Right.
because
So mark it somehow, on
calendar,
it,
right.
or put it on your calendar, some way to remind yourself, and don't skimp because it does create a health problem.
Right. That's good. I appreciate that, as I'm sure our viewers do too. So another issue that I know you're involved with is really climate change. So tell us a little bit about what's been going on with obviously with our weather, with with Texas and Florida and Puerto Rico and these hurricanes and all that. I think everybody feels like the weather's being more drastic and more devastating now than it ever has. But and we're also at the 5th year anniversary of Sandy, and all that. So what are your feelings on that?
Right. Well, my organization was wiped out by Sandy. We had an office in Belmar. We had to move. We lost everything. So. We're very much aware and felt the pain
Yes.
of that, as many families and businesses did. What we feel is there's two really important things to do. One is we need to reduce our greenhouse gases. So whoever's next governor, we need a very aggressive, go to renewables, agenda, which will put people to work, create better innovations in New Jersey, which typically we have been the innovative state, right?
Right.
We used
We've
to be
got about 20 seconds. So.
yes, and and then the other side of it is adapting and being resilient to
Yes.
climate change. So some of it has to do with flooding, and the other has to do with heat. And a lot of people don't think about that, but older people who have various illnesses, you need to make sure you protect yourself against the heat. We're going to have more heat, more extreme.
Right.
Make sure you have cooling centers and other places to go to
Great.
protect yourself,
Thank
because
you.
you can you could
Make a
lose your
difference.
life that way.
Yeah. And one more time, the website?
cleanwateraction.org/NJ.
Okay, great. Amy Goldberg, thank you very much.
Goldsmith.
And thank you, Goldsmith, thank you, Amy Goldsmith. We appreciate your being here.
Yes.
And thank you to our viewers. We'll be right back after this commercial.
Now's a great time to make your home more energy efficient, and the New Jersey Natural Gas Save Green project is here to help. Take advantage of rebates and incentives up to $15,000 designed to make your whole house more comfortable, improve performance, and save you money. Upgrade your older, inefficient heating equipment, central air conditioning system, and water heater with money-saving, high-efficiency equipment. But don't stop there. Your new equipment will have to work harder, wasting energy dollars if your home is not properly weatherized by reducing air and duct leaks and installing proper insulation. Call the Save Green Project at 877-455-NJNG or visit SaveGreenProject.com, and we'll help you get on the road to maximum energy efficiency and savings and explain how you may qualify for up to $15,000 in rebates and incentives. Call Save Green at 877-455-NJNG.
Hello and welcome back to SCAN's Community Connections for our second part of the program. We're very fortunate to have a wonderful guest, Maria Diaz, who's Supervisor of Damage Prevention and Safety Awareness at New Jersey Natural Gas.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Maria. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
It's great to have you back. You've been here
Thank
before,
you,
and I know
yes.
you do a wonderful job with these interviews, so
Thank you.
it's a pleasure to have you back with us.
It's nice to be back.
Yep, and we're going to be talking about your favorite subject, which is 811.
It should be everyone's favorite subject.
Yes, right? So remind our audience, what is 811?
So 811 is a national number, and it's the number that you need to call before you excavate. So excavate meaning anytime you're going to disturb the Earth's surface with mechanized or non-mechanized equipment. It is really important to call 811. Actually, in New Jersey, it's a law. You must call 811 before you do any of that.
Right. It's really important, and I think most of us don't realize how important it is. And when somebody doesn't call and does do something, like even with a shovel, right, and breaks a line or whatever, then of course they realize what they should have done or how important it was to have called ahead of time. But you know, that's the nature of the beast. But you're really doing a great job getting out there and reminding people about 811. So how does 811 work?
So basically, you call the 811, the three numbers, and an operator from the New Jersey One Call Center will take your information. So they're going to ask you for specific information, like, you know, where you're going to be digging, your location. Make sure you know where you're going to be excavating. You know, like the county that you're in and the municipality, because, like, for example, we have a lot of towns that encompass little towns under it, you know, like Middletown has Port Monmouth, Belford, New Monmouth, like a lot of different towns. So
Right.
just make sure you're specific, like I'm in the New Monmouth section of Middletown.
Right.
And that way the operator can denote all of that on the ticket. So basically, once you provide them with the information, we receive the information as the facility operator, and we all respond to mark out our underground lines.
That's great. That's great. So what happens if someone doesn't call 811?
So bottom line, if you don't call, you don't know what's underground. So
Right.
the reality of it is, you know, you, for example, there could be, you know, an electric line, a gas line right underneath your mailbox, and you wouldn't know that. And that's why it's so important, because we all come out, we locate our facilities. If we have, well, gas is always underground, but if, for example, electric is above ground, they'll let you know it's above ground, so you won't see those specific colors and flags, you know, on the ground.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, it's interesting, like something like a mailbox. How many times does a mailbox get knocked over? And maybe you go to put the mailbox back up where it was, and there's concrete there or something, so you decide, I'll just move it over a foot. And you just think you're innocently going to dig a foot over, not realizing, well, that's where the gas line is, or that's where something else, the water line or something else. And of course your intention is not to break the line, but it happens, and we know it happens often with folks innocently trying to do something simple around their homes, right? So.
Definitely, but you know, I do want to add one more thing to that. It's not just that we mark the utilities, and it's not that you're required to call, but I really want our audience to understand there's a little more than just about calling. You also have to make sure that you hand dig from the outer wall of the marks so that you don't hit the facility. And you know, that's been one of our biggest culprits this year is, you know, our numbers are improving tremendously, so the audience is listening, but it's really important that they understand that the marks don't mean X marks the spot. It means make sure you move over 24 inches from the outer wall of that mark so that you don't damage the facility.
Right. Well, that is very good information. So either side of the mark, you
That is
want to go out
correct.
at least 24 inches, 2 feet
That's
on either
correct.
side. So basically, it's like a 4-foot area that you are not to dig in
That
to
is
be
correct.
safe and make sure that you're not going to hit anything.
That is
That's
correct.
That's good. That is very good, because somebody might say, oh, well, there's the line, and typically it's like a sprayed line, right?
That's correct.
Which may be like 2 inches wide, and the pipe we know is even wider than 2 inches in many cases, all that. So that's a good point. That is a very good point to make.
Well, for like your average small services, you will see a minimum of 3 marks on our property and paint and flags denoting the utility, the facility operator. But for pipelines that are larger in diameter, anything larger than 12 inches in diameter, you'll actually see a few more signs of that. Like you'll see stakes and flags, like the stakes will be on the outer wall of the pipe and the flag and paint will be in the center line of the pipe. So that actually lets you know that that's actually a larger facility. And there's also extra precaution you take with those as well.
Gotcha. Very good. Now, do I, as a homeowner, need to make the call?
Most certainly. Everyone in the state is considered an excavator if you are going to be excavating. And just to
Right.
get the audience to understand what excavation, the definition of excavation in this state is any time you disturb the earth's surface with mechanized or non-mechanized equipment. So
Right,
our
okay.
friend, the hand shovel, is one of them.
Yeah, that darn hand shovel. And again, like, so let's say I'm having a contract to do some landscaping, and it's probably not safe to just assume that they've made the call. I should still make the call as the homeowner, right? Just to double check?
No.
No.
The person that is going to be excavating is the person that is responsible. You as a homeowner, to
Need to
protect yourself
okay.
and your property, make sure you ask them for that markout number.
Right,
You know,
okay.
because the markout number is just for the audience to understand, especially if they do have a situation like you just explained. If you have an excavator that's working for you, or you've hired them, the markout numbers are always 9 digits, and the first 2 digits are always the year. The next 3 digits are actually the day of the year, and the last 3 are actually the sequence number. So you will know if that's a valid markout.
Okay, so they're not going to pull the wool over your eyes.
That is
but
correct.
generally speaking, if you have a contractor, I would say it's your responsibility to at least verify that they did do that.
That is correct.
And like you said, try to get the number from them just to help really verify that.
That is correct, but they
Okay.
are required to call
But
for
they're
the
the
markout.
one who's
most certainly.
required. Okay, that's also good to know for
Yeah.
our audience to know that they are liable for
Yes.
that and they are responsible for that. The
Most
contractor
certainly. That is
they've
correct.
hired should do that, and if they're doing it themselves, they're liable at their own home.
That is
And
correct.
it is a law that
Yes.
they should be doing this. So if
Yes.
they don't do it and something happens, not the
Then I
greatest.
show up.
Then you show up. Oh, that's not good. If you're showing up for coffee, great. If you're showing up for that, oh, not good. So how is the public educated? How do you actually get this information out to
You know,
to the public?
actually, we had a tremendous year this year. Every year we do a few what's called Dig Safely fairs. You know, we do about 4 or 5 a year. We started in 2013, where we come out into the communities and educate our homeowners, our contractors. You know, with our neighbors, Home Depot we've had a great partnership with them over the years. So we basically come out, we set up tents, and we promote and educate the public on the do's and don'ts of excavating in the state, and most importantly, you know, what to do in the event you damage, you know, a gas line.
Right.
But this year we've been out in the communities on community days. You know, we've just had such a phenomenal outreach from, you know, our communities that, you know, we service, that we're going to end the year with 28. So it's been a great year, and
Right.
you know, it's an impressive number, but it's just been great being out in our communities and being able to educate our homeowners, our contractors, and our children. They're so cute, you know, so, and they will certainly
I
tattle
know,
on mommy and daddy.
Yes, they will. Kids are a great way to get a lot of
Yes,
messages
they
out,
are.
right? So that's good. The kids teach us a lot. They come
Yes,
home
they do.
with a lot of information, and it sticks.
Yes.
You know, a lot of us have, like myself, I'll speak about only myself. You know, you've got a lot of information in there from over the years. years, and it's hard to get new things to stick sometimes. The kids just absorb everything.
No,
So
yes, they
that's
do.
great. So tell us, who actually marks these lines?
So we outsource our mark outs. So we have a contractor, Utiliquest, that marks out our gas lines, and every utility is different. JCP&L does the same thing. They have an outside contractor.
Well, that's
so
good.
basically,
So for our customers, it's either us or JCP&L, and Utiliquest is
Utiliquest is our
okay.
locating company. So if you see them on the property, just know that they are actually responding to our markouts, and they're there to just protect, again, your property and our facility, and they're going to be performing the markout.
Okay, that's great.
And they do carry ID with them at all times, so they're required to.
Gotcha. And how long does it usually take to get the mark out between, like, from when you call to when it actually happens?
So actually, it's really very clear in the law. The law says you cannot call more than 3 business days before, more than 10 business days before, and the markout is then valid for 45 business days. So from the minute you call, it's 3 business days that we need to locate our facility, and then you get your start date. And the great thing about when you call 811 is they actually send you a copy of the ticket, and it actually denotes your start date, your start by date, and your end date, your expiration date. So you always are able to keep track of your job and know, okay, this ticket's going to expire in a week, let me call in a new one. Never wait until the day that it expires, because again, you have to wait 3 business days for us to respond.
Right, okay. That's important for folks to know too. Is there, like, so if you call this and then the ticket's going to expire and then you call again, the average person would think, well, what's the fees involved with this? And the good news is?
811 is free.
Yes,
it is completely free. So please call.
Right. So there's really no reason why you can't call, because
No.
it's not a financial issue. It's just a matter of calling, being responsible, making sure it's done in a timely fashion, which you guys make sure it's done in a timely fashion. You get the mark out, you know what you're working with, you do what you need to do. If for some reason you're not completing your project within the set amount of time, you just simply call and tell the nice folks that I need to extend this, right, or get a new one, however you do it, right? Get a new one. And then they come out and we do it again just to make sure. And we are happy to cover the cost for making that happen, because it is that important.
That's correct. It is extremely important.
Right. So that's great to know. So when folks come out, when they come out and actually do the markouts, there's always all different colors. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. So it's really important that our public familiarizes themselves with the colors, because, for example, yellow is gas, so you will see yellow paint and flags, and we also put our information on the flags, so in the event there's an emergency, you know our emergency number. Red is electric, blue is water, and then we have green is sewer, and orange is communications. Okay. So it's really, sometimes, everything's underground, and the development will look like a Crayola crown box, but that's a good thing, you know what I mean? Right. That means everything was marked, and, again, it's a good thing. You'll know where everything is.
Right. And I think the other good thing for our listeners to know is that all this will fade away over time, right? So when you see somebody spray painting, typically like, oh my gosh, you're spray painting my curb and my sidewalk and my grass, but it all fades away.
It is.
Is there kind of a time frame that rule of thumb?
Honestly, it all
varies,
depends.
right?
It does vary,
The weather,
but we
raining,
do use water-based paint and the flags. I just had a colleague say to me the other day that he watched a markout perform in his neighborhood, and as soon as the locator left, the children came out and pulled the flags out. The kids loved the flags.
Oh boy.
It was good though. He called. He let me know, and I was able to send someone out to obviously to perform the locate again. But the flags are a huge hit with the children as well.
That's good. Well, we're out of time. It's been wonderful.
Thank you.
And appreciate your being here.
Thank
and
you.
We appreciate our viewers, and please come back to Community Connections at SCAN. Thank you.